The most dangerous putter in your group might not be the $500 mallet with the tungsten weights and the polymer insert and the 3 alignment lines. It might be the scratched-up Ping Anser your friend found in his garage, still wearing the original grip, with no technology you could point to on a spec sheet. That sounds wrong, and that discomfort is exactly where this needs to start. Modern putters have never looked more serious. High-MOI mallets, aerospace-grade materials, adjustable weights, precision-milled faces designed to control launch angle and minimize skid. The marketing is convincing because the technology is real. Nobody is faking the physics. And yet, more golfers are quietly going back to designs born decades before any of that existed. Not out of nostalgia, because something happened on the green that the spec sheet did not predict. If you have ever spent real money on a modern putter and still walked off greens feeling like the problem was somewhere you could not locate, stay with this. The issue almost certainly was not your stroke or your effort. It might have been a simpler mismatch, one the industry rarely discusses, because discussing it would mean admitting that more technology does not automatically mean more made putts. If this is the kind of honest breakdown you want more of, subscribe now. We do this every week. Subscribe, and then let's get into it. The story of classic putters surviving into an era of radical modern design starts with a simple truth. The fundamental problem of putting has not changed. You are rolling a ball on a surface, trying to control speed and direction well enough to send it into a hole. Same problem in 1966 as it is today. The Ping Anser solved it by redistributing weight to the heel and toe before perimeter weighting was even a phrase in golf. More stable on off-center hits, better balanced for a natural stroke arc, visually clean enough that the eye could find the target without fighting the club. That geometry still influences almost every blade putter made today. The Wilson 8802, the Bullseye, the early TP Mills, the first Scotty Cameron blades, these designs share a common philosophy, built around the stroke rather than around the golfer's mistakes, offering feedback instead of forgiveness. That philosophy is, in many ways, the exact opposite of what most modern putters are trying to sell. Modern putters did not appear out of nowhere. They were built to solve real problems that real golfers had on real greens. That is worth saying clearly before any criticism lands, because the technology has genuine value, just not the universal value the marketing implies. Face-balanced mallets with high MOI helped golfers who consistently missed the center of the face. Wider soles and heavier heads gave players with shaky tempo a more stable platform. Alignment systems helped people who genuinely struggled to aim. Soft polymer inserts smoothed out the harsh click of milled steel on certain green conditions. These were not invented problems. They were observed in fitting data, in stroke analysis, in what happened when average golfers putted under pressure. The issue is not what modern putters do. The issue is what they promise. And there is a significant gap between those two things. A $500 putter can stabilize the head through impact. It cannot read the green. It cannot choose the right speed on a downhill slider. It cannot reduce the anxiety over a 4-footer. It cannot make your decision more committed once you pull the trigger. Those things, the ones that actually determine whether the ball goes in, are entirely outside what the equipment controls. And yet the marketing rarely says that. It implies that technology closes the gap between you and the result you want. It does not say that most 3 putts come from speed control, not face stability. It does not say that alignment lines help some eyes and quietly distract others. It does not say that a heavier, more stable head can hurt distance control for players who rely on feel to calibrate force. That silence is expensive. Not just in dollars, in the time golfers spend blaming their stroke when the real problem was a mismatch between equipment and sensory feedback. Here is what that mismatch looks like in practice. A golfer misses 3 putts inside 8 feet in one round, decides the issue is consistency, and buys a high MOI mallet with a soft insert. On the putting green, it feels better. The ball rolls smoothly. He feels more confident. But on the course, something is off. Long putts become harder to judge. Feedback on thin contact feels muffled. He cannot tell whether he hit it firm or caught it slightly off-center. The putter is doing exactly what it was designed to do, absorbing variation, softening the response, and that is precisely the problem. He needed information. The putter gave him insulation instead. That distinction between a putter that informs and a putter that insulates is the center of everything that follows. Feel is not a preference. It is not the soft variable that serious golfers eventually move past. Feel is information, the primary channel through which your brain calibrates distance, adjusts force, and decides whether the last stroke was close enough to repeat. The feedback you receive in the fraction of a second after impact tells you where on the face you made contact, how much force transferred, whether you accelerated or decelerated. A putter that delivers that cleanly gives you something to work with. One that muffles it leaves you guessing. Golfers who are guessing 3-putt more than golfers who are reading. Classic putters made from carbon steel or bronze tend to deliver that feedback directly. The difference between a center strike and a toe strike is immediately audible and tactile. That is not comfortable in the way a soft insert is comfortable, but comfort is not the same thing as control. Now here is where the alignment argument gets complicated. More lines do not automatically mean better aim. Alignment is individual. It depends on your dominant eye, your posture, how far you stand from the ball, and how your visual system reads the relationship between the face and the target line. What looks perfectly square to one golfer looks slightly open to another. Neither of them is wrong. Their eyes are just built differently. A mallet with 3 sight lines might help one player aim instinctively. For another, that same visual field creates noise, second guessing at address, small compensations mid-stroke. The putter designed to help him aim becomes the thing making him miss. A blade with a single milled line gives the eye less to process. For many players, that simplicity produces a faster, more instinctive red. Look at the line. Look at the hole. Putt. The cognitive distance between seeing and doing is shorter. Then there is stroke compatibility, the factor most golfers skip entirely. Toe hang describes how much the toe drops when you balance the putter on your finger. Significant toe hang means the putter wants to open and close through the arc. Face balanced means it wants to stay square. If your stroke naturally arcs, putting with a face-balanced mallet means fighting your own movement on every stroke. You compensate without knowing it. The inconsistency shows up as a stroke problem when it is actually an equipment mismatch. Most classic blades have natural toe hang. Most modern mallets are face-balanced or close to it. That is not random. It reflects 2 different philosophies about what a putter should do. One works with the stroke. The other asks the stroke to adapt. Hit like and drop a comment below. Have you ever felt your putter fighting you rather than following you? Take 2 golfers. Same handicap, same green reading ability, similar stroke tempo. One plays with a modern face-balanced mallet, high-MOI, soft insert, heavy head. The other plays with a classic Anser-style blade, carbon steel, single sight line, moderate toe hang. On paper, the mallet player has the more forgiving setup. In practice, something different happens. The mallet player controls direction well. Mishits stay closer to the line, but his distance control is inconsistent. He leaves long putts short or rolls them past. The insert softens feedback enough that he cannot feel the difference between a stroke with enough pace and one that quietly decelerated. He compensates by swinging harder, which changes tempo, which changes direction. The forgiveness on one dimension creates problems on another. The blade player misses left occasionally, reads the feedback immediately, adjusts. His distance control is sharper because impact sound and feel give him an honest read of how much energy reached the ball. His margin for directional error is smaller, but his calibration is better. Over 18 holes, his putting average is lower, not because of talent, but because the equipment gives him better information. This is not a universal result. It depends entirely on the player. But it shows why the modern versus classic conversation cannot end at MOI numbers. The real question is always about the relationship between equipment and that specific golfer's sensory system, stroke shape, and confidence triggers. When modern putters genuinely win, and they do, it is for specific reasons. A golfer who consistently mishits toward the toe will see real improvement from perimeter weighting. A straight back, straight through stroke benefits from face balance design. A golfer who cannot aim with simple lines will putt more confidently with a stronger visual reference. These are legitimate advantages, not marketing fiction. The problem is that fitting for those specific advantages rarely happens in a retail environment. What happens instead is that a golfer walks into a store, holds a mallet that feels substantial and looks serious, rolls a few putts on carpet, and buys confidence in the form of equipment. The confidence is real. The fitting is not. Classic putters are returning partly because golfers are separating those two things. A putter that feels heavy and advanced is not the same as a putter that works for your stroke. A putter that looks simple and old is not the same as a putter that holds you back. The question that actually matters is simpler and harder to answer in a store. Does this putter make it easier or harder to feel what you just did? That question, asked honestly over real putts on a real green, eliminates more bad purchases than any spec sheet ever will. Classic putters are beating modern $500 putters, again not because old designs are objectively superior in every measurable way. They are winning for golfers who spent years buying technology and discovered that the technology was solving problems they did not actually have. The green is the one place on the course where the equipment cannot do the work for you. A driver with more forgiveness genuinely helps on misshits. A cavity back iron makes thin contact more playable. But a putter with more stability does not fix a misread. It does not correct a deceleration habit. It does not help you commit to a line you are uncertain about. On the green, the margin between equipment and execution is thinner than anywhere else, and that is exactly why the relationship between player and putter matters more than the relationship between player and any other club. What the return of classic putters is telling us is something the industry does not want as a headline. For many golfers, the obstacle was never the equipment. It was the gap between what the equipment was doing and what the golfer could actually feel. Close that gap. Give honest feedback, a shape that fits the stroke, a visual that reads naturally, and the result improves. Sometimes that means a modern putter. Sometimes it means something designed before adjustable weights existed. The practical test is not complicated. Take any putter to a real green. Hit 30 putts from different distances and pay attention to two things only: how well you controlled distance, and how quickly you knew whether the last stroke was good. If you can feel each putt and adjust from one to the next, the putter is working. If you finish a stroke and genuinely cannot tell what happened, the putter is insulating you from information you need. That feedback loop, stroke, sensation, adjustment, is the entire game on the green. The equipment that supports it most clearly is the right equipment, regardless of price or era. Classic putters are getting back into bags because they get out of the way. They do not soften what should be sharp or complicate what should be simple. They hand the feedback directly to the player and trust that the player can use it. That is not nostalgia. That is function. And on a putting green, function is the only thing that was ever going to matter. Share this with someone in your group who keeps switching putters looking for the answer, because the answer might already be sitting in someone's garage. Subscribe to stay with us. The next video covers putter fitting in detail and connects directly to everything we broke down today. This channel is for golfers who want to understand the game more deeply. If that is you, you are in the right place.